This is the 5th sermon in this series and truly begins to answer the question to the title of this series, who are we and why are we here?
Look here, huh? About time, Mr. Squirrel.
The first 4 sermons had to be given for the proper chronology of the story. Thank you for sticking with it. Picking up where I left off in the last sermon, God the Creator continued to create. The timeline of existence as we know it continued to progress. Remember also from previous sermons on this title subject that it's just God and God's angelic community in heaven, and that the universe has not yet been created. Okay? God had to show God's angelic community that God was correct on how cognitive thinking souls should coexist and that Satan was incorrect. God continued with God's plan that was pre-written in God's blueprint of all existence as we know it to create. So thus begins the story of how God began to teach the angelic community about coexistence and real true love. The first thing that God did was create a whole new realm of space. The new realm of space we know and refer to as the universe. Let's review. God and God's angelic community are existing in an endless realm known as heaven. And remember, how long they existed as a community there doesn't matter because it isn't relevant. God then created the realm of space that we know as the universe. Hence, the first thing that God created in our timeline of existence was the angelic community in heaven. The second thing that God created in our timeline of existence was the universe. Is the realm of the universe endless? The realm of heaven is endless. Have to believe in that word endless. The realm of heaven is endless or eternal. God then created the realm of the universe. This logically means that the realm of the universe, while separate from the realm of heaven, is within the realm of heaven. The realm of space past the realm of space that we know of as the universe is the realm of space that we know of as heaven. So if the universe is a realm of space within an endless realm of space, then that would give the realm of space that we know of as the universe the opportunity to endlessly grow. The good Mosaic book of Genesis, Mosaic meaning written by Moses, says that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth. How did God create the realm of heaven if it already existed for eternity? God and the realm of heaven have always existed for eternity. Remember from the first sermon in this series that you have to find a way to teach yourself to believe in eternity. Eternity has always existed and is something that was not and cannot be created. Again, what Christians call begotten and not made. Also remember from the first sermon that it's important to know that consciousness always has a location. When God created the realm of space known as the universe, there was now a second realm of space within the first realm. The first realm being heaven, which is endless and eternal. This is what is meant in the Bible verse in Genesis. By creating a second realm of space, that is the universe, God had given the first realm of space an individual identity. By creating the universe, a second realm of space, and giving the realm of space of heaven its own identity, is what the Bible means in the verse, God created the heavens. How did God create the universe? With lots of energy. Where did the energy come from? Well, it came from God. Science says that energy cannot be created. It wasn't. It has always existed, eternally. Just as science says it has. God is everything that ever existed. Everything. And if God has always existed and energy has always existed, then it was the energy within God that was used to create the universe. Remember from sermon number 2 that God is everything that has ever existed, including all thoughts and emotions condensed into one supernatural being. Okay, I'm going to speed things up a little because it's the 21st century, and thanks to our buddy science and really cool things like the Hubble Space Telescope, we all have been blessed with a vast amount of knowledge about space, the universe, and how it works. So to sum up this part of the story quickly, within this new realm of space called the universe, God created and placed galaxies, stars, planets, satellites, comets, meteors, and all the other crap that we know of that flies and floats around the universe. So this is what it looks like. First, there's the endless realm of heaven, home of God and all the angels. Inside the realm of heaven is the realm of the universe. Within the realm of the universe are galaxies. These galaxies are made up of stars, meteors and comets, gases, etc. Around these stars are planets and satellites. Recognize this image? This is where the angelic community's lesson on coexistence and real true love truly begins. God's plan to teach the angelic community that God was right about how cognitive thinking souls need to coexist, a plan that was written before the angels were created, started with the creation of a new realm of space, of the universe, and everything within it. God then took what we call one of those planets and made it unique to the other planets. God developed it to sustain all forms of what we call life as we know it. One of the lives that it was developed to sustain was human cognitive thinking souls. On this planet would be a new form of cognitive thinking soul, unlike the angelic cognitive thinking soul. These cognitive thinking human souls would not all be created at once like the angels were. Each one would be created and brought into existence individually, and they will need one another to continue their creation and existence. The human cognitive thinking soul, let's just call them humans throughout the rest of the sermon, would also live in conditions much different than the angels in the humans, biologically created bodies. Like God and the angels, humans are cognitive thinking souls with feelings and emotions. This is what it means when the Bible says humans and angels were made in God's image. We are all, humans and angels, unlike anything else, cognitive thinking souls. It doesn't necessarily mean that we all have the same physical appearance or way of communicating, or God looks like an old Caucasian guy with long white hair and a long white beard. The conditions that the biological humans would have to live their lives in their realm and in their biological environment are much more harsh and uncomfortable than the spiritual heavenly environment that the angels and the angelic souls live their lives. The humans also needed other elements in this biological world to sustain their lives. The humans also had an emotion that the angels did not have to experience. That emotion is something that we call physical pain. In a spiritual body, in a heavenly realm, there is not what we call physical pain. There's much on this subject, no physical pain in heaven, to dive into. However, I'm going to have to push it to a future sermon to keep the flow of this whole who are we and why are we here sermon series going. I promise I will. These are the conditions that we all as humans on Earth, in our solar system, in our galaxy, in the universe, have to live our lives here with. It takes two of us, each of a different gender, to create more of us. Our souls are brought into existence into helpless, ignorant, biological bodies. Every one of us, no exceptions. Our bodies need nutrition to live and grow. in order to continue our individual existence, we must consume other biological life on this planet. We also feel physical pain and the uncomfortable side of hot and cold. All things that the angels do not have to experience or feel, and therefore are ignorant to. Biological humans experience new feelings that spiritual cognitive thinking souls had never experienced. Do angels feel mental pain, or what we refer to as heartache? Yes, they do. Being cognitive thinking souls with feelings and emotions that need to learn and understand real true love, of course they do. Living in spiritual bodies, they don't experience the physical pain we do. And living in biological body on earth, I can't honestly relate to their kinds of mental pain experience as heavenly spiritual beings. Logical, intelligent thinking souls feel sadness. It is an emotion that comes with understanding. Sadness is an emotion that keeps souls in check. Sadness is not always necessarily a bad emotion or an emotion related to sin. Not that I'm saying that sadness is a good emotion. I'm not saying that sadness can't be related to sin. But that's why we write and listen to sad songs and poems. A little sadness can make us humans think sometimes, and it keeps us in check. Oh, and also the angels. Sadness is a tool of education that God is using to teach both us and the angels, and promises all of us that all sadness will be wiped out after the final judgment. Hopefully that answered the question of why we must experience sadness. So how are the angels learning their lesson that God is correct about how cognitive thinking souls should coexist together, and all about real true love? By watching the humans live their lives in the universe, in their galaxy, in their solar system, on their planet. The human cognitive thinking soul is created in an element or environment that makes it feel both physical pain and discomfort and dependency. The humans also need their environment and one another to survive and exist, giving them a dependency on both. Here's the irony in this. The humans' new feelings of pain and dependency were creating emotions that the angels were not familiar with. Watching the humans, the angels were seeing things that the angels had never seen before. The humans' best chance of surviving and existing under these conditions in this realm on this planet was clearly to work together. But instead, they became selfish. They also became arrogant and greedy. But that doesn't make sense. Their best chance of existence and survival there on earth is to work together as much as possible. And now the angels began to see the irony. In spite of the conditions that the humans lived in and were created in, they became selfish. At some point, the humans believed that they did not need God and began to reject their Creator. The humans became self-focused, and each believed that this was the best means of thinking for individual survival. I've been refraining from referencing the Bible too much in this sermon series for non-believers, but we all know the story of Adam and Eve and how Satan played a role in the downfall of humanity. Adam and Eve and the book of Genesis is once again a whole nother sermon that I will circle back to in the future. Many ancient texts refer to who we know of as the angels as the Watchers. The Watchers is an accurate description of the angelic community, perhaps more so than the name messengers, which is still an accurate name, messengers. God tasked the angels with watching the humans. Simply by watching and observing the humans exist in the universe, in their galaxy, on their planet, the angels were seeing a new form of cognitive thinking soul, exist and coexist. By observing the humans living in their harsh conditions in their biological bodies and seeing how they needed one another to exist, the angels were learning their lessons on coexistence as a community of cognitive thinking souls. The angels were learning about selfish and selfless and real true love, watching the humans coexist to survive to exist. Believe it or not, angels aren't teaching us. They're messengers, but they're not teachers. In fact, angels are learning from us. We're the ones that are teaching the angels. Another surprising thing that angels are learning from us is all about sadness, which I mentioned earlier. This is a tool God is using to gauge their reaction and understanding of our existence and of coexistence. Okay, it's Bible verse time. 1 Peter 1 verses 12 says, "These are things that even the angels would like to understand." Meaning angels are what? Continuing to learn. 1 Corinthians 4 verse 9 says, "For it seems to me that God has put us apostles on display at the end of the procession, like men condemned to die in the arena. We have been made a spectacle to the whole universe, to angels as well as to men." Angels are watching us, and angels are learning from us. That's what this is saying. And what are we teaching the angels? We're teaching the angels that only through real, true love can cognitive thinking souls exist together forever in eternity. Thank you.